We're going to explain how to remove subtotals from a pivot table. This is a common request, and thankfully, it's pretty easy to do in most spreadsheet programs. The exact steps might vary slightly depending on your specific software, like Excel, Google Sheets, etc. But the overall process remains similar. Here's how to do it. 1. Locate the pivot table options. First, you need to find the settings for your pivot table. Usually, this involves right-clicking anywhere within the pivot table itself. This will bring up a context menu. 2. Find the subtotals setting. In that context menu, look for an option related to subtotals, field settings, value field settings, or something similar. The exact wording varies across software. The key is to find the option that allows you to control how values are summarized within the pivot table. 3. Accessing the subtotal options. Clicking the relevant option, like Value Field Settings, will typically open a new dialog box or a panel within your spreadsheet. This is where you'll find the controls for subtotals. 4. Removing subtotals. Inside this dialog box or panel, you'll see options related to subtotals, show subtotals, or similar wording. Look for a checkbox, drop-down menu, or radio button that allows you to choose whether to show subtotals. Uncheck the box, select None from a drop-down, or choose the equivalent option to disable subtotals. This will remove subtotals for the specific field you're currently adjusting. 5. Repeating for all fields. If you want to remove subtotals from all fields in your pivot table, you may need to repeat steps 2 to 4 for each field in your pivot table that currently has subtotals. This is necessary because each field's subtotal setting is controlled independently. 6. Grand total considerations. Note that removing subtotals does not automatically remove the grand total of your pivot table. If you also wish to remove the grand total, you'll need to find a separate option for that within your pivot table settings. This is often found within the same dialog box or panel where you adjusted the subtotals. Often this is labeled grand totals or a similar phrase. Look for options to turn it off for rows, columns, or both. 7. Refresh the pivot table. After making changes to your subtotal settings, it is a good idea to refresh the pivot table to reflect the changes. In most spreadsheet programs, you can do this by right-clicking the pivot table and selecting Refresh. Following these steps will allow you to effectively remove subtotals from your pivot table, resulting in a cleaner and potentially more easily readable summary of your data. Remember that the precise location of these options might slightly differ based on your spreadsheet software and its version.